We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on a glorious Monday morning. Not so glorious with the news that just came out if you're a Titans fan. Wow. I mean, they're good. They helped me with my lock, which we'll get into in just a minute. They're good. But without Derrick Henry, how good will they be? And they will be without Derrick Henry for at least the next 8 weeks. Maybe he'll be available for the playoffs. I hope so. I hate to see a star go down. I truly do. Any team. You want to see all the best players play. He's clearly as good as anybody running the football in the National Football League. And he's their best weapon. And for that team, which is playing incredibly well, for them to lose him, that is a really, really tough thing for Mike Vrabel and company. The Tigers yesterday unveiled Imani Bates. They unveiled Landers Nolly. And to nobody's surprise, those guys are pretty good. Imani Bates, his vision, his grace. There are certain guys, and I will tell you that you could see it right away with Derrick Rose. I can't exactly describe how John Calipari described Derrick Rose to me. Jay Morgan, I may tell you off the air. But basically, he had never seen anybody from free throw line to the rim quicker than Derrick Rose. I would tell you, there's guys like Kevin Durant, the great ones that just glide. And you can tell as they just run down a floor or shoot with form that they're different, that they're special, that this is the way it should be, right? They made a logo of Jerry West because of the way he played the game. And this kid Bates is just remindful of grace and athleticism. His vision is pretty good. He's a good passer. He makes the extra pass. It's part of the new drills that the U of M is doing to get everybody more involved. What a debut. And Landers Nolly reminded us just how good he is. This is why he's all conference. He came in, and whatever problems there were discipline-wise, everybody forgot him. And, Penny is definitely going to just have to figure out a way to keep this guy happy and to use him. He said he didn't care whether he started it or not. I don't know how his psyche really is around that. I just know he is important because you look up and you're going, he didn't do too much, and he's leading the team in points with 18. I mean, he just figures out ways to be terrific. Speaking of which, there's a great secret in the Mid-South. How none of the SEC teams or how the University of Memphis didn't figure out about this kid a few years ago from Arlington High School. Kenny Walker had only, until the last second when he went to Wake Forest, he had only one offer. This is hard to believe. This offer came from Kent State, a MAC school. So at the last second, Wake Forest comes in. He goes there. I don't know what happened at Wake Forest. I really don't. And I love Dave Clawson. I think Dave Clawson, they're still undefeated. People ought to be whispering about him being Coach of the Year. He certainly wins the press conference. I can tell you that because I've been to a couple that he's been at. And I don't know how he let this kid go, but all this kid did was break the heart of Michigan fans, which their hearts collectively have been broken for years now. I don't know. It is interesting to me that Jim Harbaugh can beat every team he's supposed to beat except top 25 teams, except Michigan State, his rival, and except Ohio State, his biggest rival. Can't beat those teams. I don't get it. I really do not. But I know Kenny Walker is the real deal. Kenny Walker, and I'm going to give him a gold medal. And we're doing our medals a little bit later. We'll get into that in a second. But he's going to get a gold from me. The guy had 197 yards and 5 touchdowns in the comeback to beat Michigan and beat their rival and to remain undefeated and clearly have to be in position to be a playoff team. Now, they're going to play Michigan State in November. I think it's the 20th. We'll all be keeping our eyes on that because they've got 2 easy games, Purdue and I can't remember, maybe it's Rutgers or somebody like that in between. So that will be fun to watch. And then Tom Brady showed us he's human. And TJ Reeves will not be with us today because an NFL rule that we just learned about, or at least it's Tampa Bay, but I think it's an NFL rule. The broadcast teams are not traveling with the teams. They're not allowed to fly. Thank goodness that is not the case for me at the collegiate level or really at the NBA level. I know Pete Pranica and all those guys, they are flying with the team, I'm almost certain. But at the NFL level, the teams are not. And so he couldn't get back last night. So TJ will join us at some point later in the week. But Tom Brady showed us he's human. He dropped the football. That was a fumble recovery. He threw 2 more picks. Do you know, as a Buccaneer now, Tom Brady has 20 turnovers that are credited to him. 20. 8 of the 20 all have come against New Orleans. He cannot play against the Saints. And finally, in our little open here, I can tell you the Astros won't go away. They will not go away. They spotted the Braves a grand slam from Adam Duvall in the very first inning, 4-0. And I'm thinking, I listened to the Big Hurt in the pregame show. He goes, if the Astros get an early lead, the Braves get an early lead, the Astros are done, they'll quit, blah, 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 blah. Forget it. Carlos Correa, thanks to Dusty Baker's move, moves up in the order. Bregman moves down, but he comes through with the big hit. Martin Maldonado had 3 RBIs. Wow. They come back from 4-0 down, even 5-2, and cannot, the Braves cannot put them away. And now they're going back to Houston, and I wouldn't bet on the Braves. I really would not. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. So the last team to come back from down 3-1, Jay Morgan, quick history here. It was very sweet for many of us old-timers. That's your hint. Who was the last team to come back from down 3-1?
I have no idea. I'm going to say the Miracle Mets. I don't know.
That's a long time. Miracle Mets are 1969.
No, 86, right? No, you're right.
The Miracle Mets are 69.
Miracle Mets are 69.
Because they destroyed my Cubs.
Whatever the 86 Mets are, that's what I'm saying, 86 Mets.
No, think 2016, the Cubs. The Cubs were down to Cleveland 3-1 and came back. So, now I'm going to ask you an even tougher question.
I didn't even get that one right.
90 teams have been down 3-1. How many have rallied out of 90 teams to come back and win, knowing the Cubs are one of them?
8.
14. You almost said 14. You almost said 14. But we've got a World Series, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Game 6 tomorrow night will take place in Houston. So, let's get to the locks, and then Tim Doolin's going to join us on baseball.
Good deal.
One other program note, our friend Mike Fitzsimmons, under the weather today, not going to be able to be on the show. Neither will TJ Reeves, as I mentioned. So we're going to do gold, silver, bronze, and rust in the 10:45 segment. In the meantime, let you know that John Thompson is going to fill in for Mike Fitzsimmons at about 10:25, 10:28, somewhere in there. All right, so our locks. We came into this week. I was 3-5-1, and you were 4-5. Both of us went 2-1. Jay Morgan, my heart reaches out to your youth and your inexperience. I have told you over and over and over again, you cannot let your heart lead you in these things. These are locks. These there are people out there depending on wisdom, not where your heart is, to make picks. 2-1's not chopped liver. You are now, if I recall correctly, I believe you're 500, 6-6 on the year. I am 5-6-1, half a game behind you. You, however, would be over 500. You, however, would have been perfect on the week. It would have been your second week. You, however, chose to go with the Miami Dolphins only because you like them. What other reason could there be?
This is the great pivot right here, Dave, is the Dolphins should have covered. Talent-wise, they have the people to cover. Problem is the coaching staff. I didn't account for all the coaching errors by Brian Flores and the offensive coaching staff, and that's why they didn't cover the 14. They were in that game the whole game. 2 late touchdowns took it away from them, but that's what I'm going to go with today.
Well, you only missed by 1. The line was 14.
15, yeah.
And you lost by 15, 26-11. But when we go into these things, you must take into account everything for the week.
Yeah, I didn't do it. It's my mistake. But look, they had a great showing, and I really like this Tua guy. So, I know I'm not allowed to do it anymore, but I just want all the people out there to make sure keep watching those Dolphins. They're going to get it figured out here pretty soon.
I hope for your sake. But no more. You're not allowed to bet the Dolphins anymore. That's off the table for you. So Penn State covered for me. Kentucky lost, and you'll hear from me. I'm giving Will Rogers a medal later in this program. He was absolutely outstanding. And then the Titans covered in that overtime thriller yesterday for me. I wonder how many more they're going to be like that now with Derrick Henry out. And for you, Jay Morgan, your only loss was because you went with your heart with Miami, letting all your fans down, all those that bet, and that's just a sad thing. Your Jets win was spot on, and we got a new hero there. And then Carolina won straight out, even though they were getting 3 points over Atlanta.
Crazy line.
Crazy. It was a sucker line.
I
was with you. That's why I stayed away from it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so both of us not bad. 2-1 for the week. I mentioned a little bit earlier, we got a World Series. Tim Doolin's going to join us in a moment. I'll let you know the Relax at Home sale going on still at Family Leisure. I got to go see those guys because I'm going to need, even though it's going to get a little colder, I think I need one more bit of chlorine, and they have chlorine if you need it. But if you want to now invite people over because it's getting a little bit cooler to watch the big game, they got the beautiful theater seating going on right now with a sale. You also get massage chairs if your aching body after you've raked leaves needs some help, or you played golf in the cold. They've got that. You also know you can enjoy a pool game, shuffleboard, air hockey, all those on sale with the Relax at Home sale going on right now at Family Leisure. Our friend Tim Doolin joins us now. What a World Series. There were many people, including myself, who thought when Duvall hit that grand slam, goodbye Astros. Braves are going to be champions. You said it would be close, though. It would go 6 or 7, and now it's going to. How are you?
I'm good. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think it was over. I mean, there's too many good hitters on both teams, especially the Astros, and it was just a matter of time before they got the bats going. So it's going to be interesting. Max Fried is really going to have to step up. He's had a couple of bad outings, although he's been dynamic over the course of the last 3 or 4 months of the season, especially after the All-Star break. They need to win Game 6 because I think if it goes 7, the Astros are going to win. Keep in mind the Braves lose their ace in Morton the other day when he broke his leg. So that's going to be difficult. I think Game 6 is going to be the Game 7 for the Braves.
There are some, and I think it was the Big Hurt, who also was wrong when he said if the Braves went up big, the Astros would go away, and that was not the case, obviously. But he said Max Fried should have started Game 5. Get him while you can. He's their best guy now with Morton out, and they should have gone for the jugular while at home. And A-Rod countered with no. You don't do that. Go with basically a bullpen game because you started a guy that was a minor leaguer, and he ended up giving up that lead. Which way would you have gone, Tim?
Well, I don't know that I mean, it's easy. It's easy for us to sit back and second guess, but I probably would have done like A-Rod and just stayed with what you did. I mean, at the end of the day, you went up 4-0. And yeah, the bullpen did give it up, but the bullpen has also been really, really good in the postseason. So I think look, if you're the Braves and someone told you before the series started that you would have a 3-2 lead going back to Houston, you would take it in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. I think you would, but you would have loved to have gotten business taken care of. Well, you could have, but that is not the case. I got to give Dusty Baker credit, right? He moves Carlos Correa down in the order, Bregman back. They both were the beneficiaries of those moves.
They were, and we talk about it all the time, and obviously it's on one of my soapboxes, but I do think that when you've got a manager like Dusty who's been around, he's a veteran guy, he's very intelligent. I think that there is a blend with the Astros of taking the analytics and allowing the manager to manage. And I think you saw that last night, especially last night, where, look, I gotta shake something up. Our offense is sputtering. Bregman's been struggling. Correa was struggling. And a lot of times as a hitter, when they do that, whether it's accurate or not, it's probably not as accurate in today's game as it was years ago when I played. But when they move you down, typically you're going to see more fastballs. You're going to see. But I think more than anything, it just kind of broke up a little bit of the pressure and lets the hitter kind of take a sigh of relief. It's like, okay, all right. And the manager's, conscientious of me struggling, which is fine. He's got confidence in me, so he's just going to move me down a little bit and see if that works. And it worked. And so, again, even though the Astros are down 3-2, the momentum has really shifted toward the Astros. They're going home. It's a short porch. They're swinging the bats really good. I think the only thing that if the Astros had their rather, they'd be playing tonight instead of taking a day off.
Yeah. Are you changing your position then? You said good series all the way. You said the Braves would win. Now that you know Charlie Morton. Oh, and by the way, have you ever seen a more courageous performance? 16 pitches on a broken leg. I mean, that's amazing. But are you going to change the way you pick this thing?
No, I said the Braves in 6, and we're right here. And so they got one of their, arguably their ace going in Game 6, Max Fried. He's just got to be the ace. And so look, it comes down to this. You're going to run one of your best guys out there and see what happens. And so, again, if the Braves lose, it goes to Game 7, and anything can happen. But I would say the advantage goes to the Astros. But I'm still sticking with the Braves. I just think they're this year's team, and they've done remarkable things. And really, you got to give the Braves GM a huge amount of credit for making the trades that he did after losing Osuna. It's been remarkable what they've done.
90 teams have come. Or there have been 90 teams that have been down 3-1. I mentioned this a little earlier. 14 have come back, so it's not impossible. The last one to do it were the Cubs in 2016. But I'm with you. If Max Fried does his deal, the Braves should win the World Series. If it goes to a Game 7, everything favors the Astros, including the starting pitching matchup, right? Because that becomes another bullpen game for Atlanta.
It does. It does. And here's the critical thing. The Braves, Max Fried's going to give you, if he gives you 4 or 5, you're happy, right? You need to have the lead going into the 5th or 6th when he comes out, because there you go again with your bullpen. And the Braves bullpen has been lights out as far as especially the back end of their bullpen. So, and they'll be fresh. It's going to be another exciting game, and I'll tell you, as a baseball fan, I think this has been one of the most exciting World Series with all the different moves you've seen made, all the things that have happened, the ups and downs and the comebacks. It's been really good. And obviously, truest part was electric, those last 3 games.
Oh, man. I mean, incredible. Just watching the pregame crew walk onto the stage with all the people there. I mean, it's been like electric everywhere. I know this is a sad thing, a sad number I've got to give out, but it's true. And this will be the last thing with Tim. In 1980, right? So we're talking 40 years ago, 41 years ago. In 1980, there were literally 100 million people less population than there are now. There were 230 million in 1980. There are now 330 million. In 1980, the opening night audience for the World Series, television ratings, 44 million people in 1980. In 2021, there were 11 million people, and we have 100 million people more, which is crazy because, and football has a lot to do with it. In 1980, the NFL was just really starting to grow. In 1980, I don't think the NBA actually had their playoffs on live TV. So we know that the world has changed, but you're talking with 100 million more people, you've lost about 75% of your audience.
Who was playing in that 1980 World Series, though?
I don't know.
I mean, if it was the Yankees and Dodgers, I mean, kind of a skewed comparison. But I hear what you're saying, and there's a lot more that people can watch nowadays too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, back in 1980, there were a handful of TV stations.
Oh, and the way we watch is differently too. So
No question.
So maybe even the measurements aren't quite as good. It was the Phillies and the Royals in 1980. Wow.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you, 1980, the Royals. That's right. George Brett, unbelievable. But anyway, I'm with you. I think it's been a terrific World Series, and I'm looking forward to Game 6, and I'm glad it's on Tuesday. They avoid Monday Night Football, so they don't have to worry about that number. Thank you, Tim. I know you're on the road. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Wolo.
This portion of our show brought to you by Dow Dominic. If you have not done this yet, you've got to. Please put it on things to do because it's unique. And once you've done it, you're going to go, wow, Wolo was really right. This is a cool thing. I'm going to bring friends. I'm going to bring family when they're in town looking for something to do. And we go down. Maybe we'll go to the Civil Rights Museum, go see Stax, go see everything. I mean, it's so great. But then you want to add this. It's the Old Dominic Distillery right in the heart of downtown at 305 South Front Street. The only distillery tour in Memphis. 45 minutes. It's a century journey that begins with the history of Old Domenico Canali, who came over, and it's a great story, came with nothing, and now that family, the Canali family, famous throughout with great athletes and great businessmen, great people. It's great. Then you get an up-close view of how they distill from grain to glass. I love the way they put that, and that's what they do in this, under the watchful eye of their master distiller. That would be Alex Castle, and she is terrific. And then your 45-minute journey sort of comes to an end with a tasting. And who doesn't want to try these incredible art forms? That's what I'm going to call these spirits from Old Dominic. So go check it out. You'll love it. It's the Old Dominic Distillery in downtown Memphis. Go to olddominic.com and you will learn more. We'll take a break. This is going to be fun. We haven't talked to him in a while. Our coach, John Thompson, famous coordinator of the defensive side. We're going to talk a little bit about Georgia because he lives in Atlanta and just how good they are, and the SEC, who might be the LSU coach, who's going to make the playoffs, who will be 1, 2, 3, and 4 when the ratings come out this week. We'll ask John Thompson in just a minute.
It's a new show with a new time, but Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane are back with Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
AC trouble? Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60. Then this year, Air Doctors is the official HVAC contractor for St. Jude Dream House. Air Doctors installed the St. Jude Dream House new Train high-efficiency equipment. Get your service from the best. AirDoctorsOfMemphis.com. Call 901-598-HVAC.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year, we're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
She's a good girl, loves her mom.
What a treat. John Thompson's going to join us here in a minute, filling in for the ailing Michael Fitzsimmons. It's brought to you by Conway. Conway services heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and they got the buyback going on. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system maybe on the last leg? You think it's worth nothing? Good news. Buyback days at Conway. John says we'll buy back your repair this year up to $1,500 if you'll use that money toward the purchase of a select carrier Infinity system. That's right, the brand new technology. They'll buy back your repair up to $1,500 even if they didn't do the repair. Just show the receipt from any company. They buy back the repair. If you didn't have a repair bill, they give you $1,500 trade-in for your old energy guzzler. All you got to do is make the call. When air conditioning systems get old and inefficient, the cost of repairs and higher utility costs almost pay for a new system. Just please get new technology right now with that buyback from Conway at 384-3511. To Atlanta we go, and not too far from Atlanta, of course, is Athens. And Georgia was incredible this past weekend against their rival in the cocktail party in Jacksonville. Just total domination, 34-7. John Thompson is a renowned defensive coordinator. He has seen defenses from around this country for, I better not say how many years. I do not want to insult him.
A lot of years.
A lot of years. John, how would you rank this Georgia defense this year?
Man, you know what? When they started off, and I saw them practice in the spring, and the size of some of these guys, and they run so well, I thought, yeah, they're going to be really, really good. But you see them every game, and they continue to get better. And I'm not sure we've seen a more dominating defense, you know, throughout the lineup. I mean, I really think that Jordan Davis, the big tackle, and when you say big tackle, 6'6",
big,
330 plus,
big tackle.
You know, who knows? When they get to be in 330, you never know what that's going to be. But is there a better player in the country? I mean, I think the guy's got a great chance to win the Heisman. I really do. I mean, there's, you know, been one in the last 40 years, defensive player, but they got it at all levels. I mean, they're playing so good. And if you saw the interview with Kirby after the game, he talked about how their preparation is and how they practice. It's a phenomenal defense. I mean, they got speed, they got size. Big Davis reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember Vince Wilfork, you know, from Miami.
Sure.
And the Patriots. I mean, he could, you know, when I was at Florida, we played him. He forced a pass and then runs it down on the sideline. I mean, and that's the way this guy is. He's playing that way. So they're I don't think there's anybody that can beat them right now. It's going to be a fluke the way the guy's controlling the ball on offense and dominating defense. I mean, you talk about dominating defense, 6 points a game in today's offense.
With today's, that is incredible. I mean, it really is. So that includes Alabama, right? So if Alabama plays Georgia in the championship game, and you know what, Auburn could say something about that because that game's at Auburn, and it's been a while since Alabama won at Auburn, and they're not quite the team that they've been the last couple of years. But is it going to be Georgia and Alabama in the Atlanta championship game?
Yeah, I think that's an easy pick. Auburn's better. Auburn's improved, but they're not Alabama. And Auburn had a good game last week. Obviously, I don't know if it was more. I'm playing in a golf tournament, Dave. I walked up a hill. I'm trying to catch my breath right now. So,
I know that.
I'm back on.
I know that feeling. Are you playing well? You're so kind, because I should point out that John did this at the last second for us. We remember how great he was.
The team that I'm playing with is really disappointing because I've obviously been carrying them. And now they got to do some things on their own right now.
Well, that's called tough love. That you're teaching them how to play the game.
No,
I love that.
They said, hey, talk for a couple more hours. It'll be fine. It'll be good. But no, I think it's going to be Alabama and Georgia, and I think we may see them play again. I think that'll be Alabama, Georgia 1, and I think we'll get Alabama, Georgia 2. I don't think it'll be in the semis. I think it'll be in the championship game.
Don't you think, though, seriously, don't you think that Alabama has to beat Georgia in order to get into the college football playoff? If Georgia beats them, that's 2 losses. How do they get in?
Well, I think there can be a 2-loss team if it's Alabama, because they're still going to be at one of the best 4 teams in the country. It's easy right now. It's easy to pick number 1. I mean, that's consensus with everybody. I think number 2, number 3, number 4 it's a crapshoot. Who knows what's going to happen there? But I think even if they beat Alabama, if it's close, Alabama still gets in. I believe that.
They're going to unveil the college football playoff rankings later this week, and
that's tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you were on that committee, how would you vote it? What would be 1, 2, 3, and 4 for you?
Well, I got a chance to watch a lot of ball this past weekend, which was good for a change. Georgia is head and shoulders. I think Alabama still is the second best team in the country. I wouldn't want to play Cincinnati if I was anybody, even if I was Georgia or Alabama. I think Cincinnati is one of the top teams in the country. They play unbelievable defense. Their quarterback's playing good. And then the last team out there as number 4, I think Michigan State, with my good friend Mel Tucker and coach in Michigan State. Mel made him a lot of money last Saturday.
Oh, no doubt.
Beating Jim Harbaugh in Michigan.
How about the Kenny Walker story? Kenny Walker, I don't know if you're aware of this. He's from Arlington, the Memphis suburb. He had no offers from any SEC team. He had no offers from the University of Memphis. At the last second, he got an offer from Wake Forest that stole him away from Kent State. How does that happen?
Yeah, the way with COVID and the way recruiting has gone now, there's a lot of mistakes that are being made on both sides. You miss a lot of good players, and I think that there's been more misses. You got players that are playing right now that might have not slipped in if you'd have had a better evaluation. You don't get to know these kids. You don't get to know their work ethic. You don't get to know a guy like that is just a little, has something else about him, is a better player than he shows on tape because of the intangibles. I think I hope it gets rectified this year, but there's still not enough evaluation time to go through the whole recruiting process. It's tough, man. it's tough because you put an awful lot into a scholarship offer, and if a guy takes it, you got to live with it. You can make bad recruiting can hurt you more than good recruiting. It can help you.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to stack them with good recruits. You get a couple of bad recruits, they hurt you.
Well, roster management now is something you never had to worry about when you were the head coach at East Carolina or defensive coordinator all over the place. Because you didn't have NILs to worry about. You didn't have that extra COVID year you got to figure out because your numbers are still, 100, really 85. But with gray shirts and everything else, it probably comes out to about 100. And you didn't have to worry about the transfer portal.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know. These guys have got to do it now. There's so much non-football into it, with the NLI and the portal and guys that can just run and jump. And, roster management, you hear that phrase all the time, but taking care of your roster and having guys that are totally committed, and you talk about buy-in, guys that are going to be there. Sometimes you got to buy in because you got to do it. Thank goodness that Charlene. Thank goodness that she believes in marriage. Because if she could have jumped in the transfer portal, she might have done that. But,
I always said, John, when you recruited, those people stuck with you, including your lovely wife. No doubt about that. All right.
Well, but
go ahead.
That's what you got to do. You got to stick with it, and you don't have that now.
All right. Last thing for our coach, John Thompson, filling in for Mike Fitzsimmons today, and we're so grateful for that. It's so good talking with you, John. It really is. You worked at LSU. You worked with Nick Saban at LSU for a short period of time. Who's the right guy for the LSU job? Who do you think ends up with that job?
He's we were together at LSU, and he did me a big favor while I was there, and I consider him a good friend of mine. He's doing a great job at Michigan State. He could be the guy for the job. Now, whether he'll take it or not, I think there's a great possibility he would. But I think Mel Tucker, the head coach at Michigan State, would be a great guy for that.
Because his name is not the one that that we're hearing. The names that we're hearing starts with James Franklin at Penn State, right? Yep. Then Billy Napier, who's down the road, and he'd be a young up-and-coming guy that would be a good pick in my mind.
Both of them, excellent. Napier's done a great job. Great job.
And then let's throw out the biggest name that everybody seems to be talking about, including our friend Ron Higgins, and I know you know Ron, and he's now writing down in Baton Rouge for LSU, and he's saying Lane Kiffin is the guy. Do you believe Lane jumped ship at Ole Miss?
Hey, what wouldn't you believe about Lane? Now, come on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't put him in a box. That could happen. That possibly could happen. I just think that LSU needs a stabling force. And Lane, those are great coaches you mentioned. Absolutely. Hey, Billy Napier has done everything right. He's a Saban disciple and has really brought, I want to still call him Southwest Louisiana, but USL has done a great job. Louisiana Lafayette, what it is.
Yeah.
What it is now. I've gone through, I've shown my age.
I think it's just Louisiana now. It went from Louisiana Lafayette or Southwestern Louisiana. I can't remember which is first.
Yeah.
And now it's just Louisiana.
I just, and I don't think they try to win the press conference. I just think that the people at LSU will think we're not going to take little stepbrother and let him move up.
Right.
I just feel that way just because of the way the people are in Louisiana, which is different than any place in the world. The culture down there is different. And I just think they need a guy to come in there, a no-nonsense guy, a guy that is from a Power 5 school, that has won, that has turned it around, had a great win on Saturday, and is a great coach. He did a good job at Colorado and has been, he was with Kirby at Georgia. He was with Nick at Alabama. He was an interim head coach in the NFL. He's just got, and he's got a lot of class. a lot of style.
Makes a lot
All
of
the other
sense.
guys do. He's just hard-nosed. He's a hard-nosed guy. I just think he would be a great fit and come in there and not put up with a lot of nonsense and get that team back together, because from what it looks like and talking to people down there, it's dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional in the locker room. It's dysfunctional out with the fan base. All of those things are happening, and I think Mel could do a great job and get it back.
Makes sense to me. And all this comes, as you mentioned, this dysfunction 2 years, not even 2 years removed from a national championship. And I promise this is it. Are you surprised at all? Spiraled out of control for Eddie O?
I hate to. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's always when you live on the edge, like he does. It's you're either gonna. I'm out on the golf course now. It's either gonna be eagle or double bogey when you live like that. And I think when they lost a couple of people, when they lost Brady and Burrow and even Dave Aranda, and then the hire of Bo Pelini that came in there, and I was really surprised at that. And I don't know Bo Pelini that well, but I know Orgeron really well. You just can't. Those things are so volatile, and with he and Pelini mixing it up together, that just wasn't going to work. That's oil and water totally. So I just think it started there really bad, and losing Dave Aranda, because I think they stayed away from Aranda, that he let him coach, and I'm not sure that he's doing that again. He's kind of doing again what he did at back at LSU. At Ole Miss.
Yep.
Kind of involved with everybody. And, it's just hard to do now when you're doing that at that level. I hope it works out for him. It's just the personality and all that's just hard to deal with.
It'll work out for him because he's got 17 million reasons to feel okay. That is for sure.
Well, I would think so. As he said, he can get him a double cheeseburger.
By the way, LSU opened up a 28.5-point underdog against Bama this weekend. Whoa.
If that happens, they go into Tuscaloosa this weekend. Unbelievable. And it could. It could. Who knows what will happen? What a sad thing. I'll say that against with Gary Patterson also.
Oh yeah,
he did everything for 20 years, and he can't even finish out the season. I know he decided.
Yeah, he made that
to
call.
not finish out the season, but come on,
I know.
The man turned everything around.
Why couldn't you have waited until after the season to even approach him? That would be the biggest question of all. John, I could talk to you forever, and I know your team will be really mad at me because you still hit the ball 270 off the tee. So you better go.
Well, they're happy that I'm back, because I've been carrying them.
I understand.
Right, guys?
Hey.
Yeah, here you see them. You hear them say, "Yeah."
I've watched you. You're grit and grind all over the place, buddy. We love you. Thank you, John.
Hey, Dave. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh,
appreciate
my pleasure.
It, buddy.
That is our coach. That is John Thompson giving up some time to chat with us. He's brought to you in part by the Spirit Shop. Okay, I know the weekend's over, and you've probably really enjoyed a lot of cheering and celebrations and things of that nature. So just stop by and go see Eddie Connor and his family right there at Poplar in St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, the little log cabin right down from Clark Tower. You can't miss it, and you'll love when you go in there. The atmosphere is so nice. Everything's tight quarters because there's spatial engineering going on. He's got more product in that little place than you've ever seen anywhere else, and it runs the gamut of quality from rare to bargains. It really does. And a lot of in between. And if you'd like to get educated, Eddie and that crew that's in there will take the time to explain why something is so good and why something is middle ground. And if you're looking for up and coming newest wines to think about that are going to be really expensive in a couple of years, you want to get in on the ground floor, Eddie can tell you all about them. Poplar and St. Nick. You'll love the experience, I promise, at the Spirit Shop. We pause our final time, and then when we come back, it's time for Precious Metals.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
AC trouble? Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60. Then this year, Air Doctors is the official HVAC contractor for St. Jude Dream House. Air Doctors installed the St. Jude Dream House new Train high-efficiency equipment. Get your service from the best. AirDoctorsOfMemphis.com. Call 901-598-HVAC.
The holidays are fast approaching, so start on your list now at Mid-South Hobbies. E-Flight Airplanes, Athearn Trains. Mid-South Hobbies has a huge selection of cars, trucks, and boats from Arma, Losi, Axial 1/10 and 1/24 scale cars, trucks, and crawlers. Spectrum batteries and all accessories are here now. Santa shops local. Hope you do too. Make your holidays fun and exciting at Mid-South Hobbies. Open 7 days a week at 4862 Summer at Mendenhall. Call 901-682-9402 for more details and information. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Mid-South Hobbies.
Action247.com is your Tennessee sportsbook for same-day pay. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Win a little or win a lot. Action247 has same-day pay. The other guys make you wait for your winnings. No more waiting with Action247 same-day pay. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action247. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We mentioned earlier the LSU-Alabama line. I've never seen a line like that between those two, that's for sure. The line out, the Tigers are 6.5-point underdogs to an SMU team that might have given one away by kicking the ball off in regulation. Game should have gone to overtime. But you know what? A lot of our coaches think Houston has the best athletes of any team in the AAC. Maybe shy of Cincy. I think they've clearly got the best, but it's pretty close. That's how good Houston's athletes are. And Ole Miss, a 10-point favorite at home against Hugh Freeze and Liberty on Saturday. So some of the early lines are out. We got Precious Metals coming your way in a minute, brought to you in part by James Davis. And that came up to me and said, he was bragging about the way my shirts and my pants have fit and how they look, because I've gotten the Stance system, and the only place you can get the Stance system is James Davis. He was wondering about suits, and I was telling him that, well, the Stance thing doesn't include the suits, but you can go in there and you can get a Paul Betenley suit. Now, they've had the Paul Betenley deal, 2 suits for about 1.5 price is really what it is, and it's the latest in materials, and they can tailor make that thing for you. It's almost like custom fit, and they do that free. And it fits perfectly. I've gotten the Paul Betenley suit deal twice. I mean, you want to look sharp? You go do the Paul Betenley suit, and you do the Stance system, and you do that with the best people in the men's store of Memphis. That is James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Time for Precious Metals. I'm going to start off with a bronze medal, partially because I so underestimated them and him. Will Rogers and the Bulldogs. I mean, that was pretty dominating. 31-17 win over Kentucky, and I think Kentucky's a pretty good team. Here's what amazes me about Will Rogers. 36 of 39. He only missed 3 passes. 344 yards and a touchdown. I'm going to give silver medals to each of the new NFL quarterbacks from yesterday. I'm going to give the New York Jets' Mike White, who had 405 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he beat Cincinnati. Wow. I mean, this is a Western Kentucky guy, for goodness sake. I'm going to give, since you're wearing the Cowboys jersey, which, by the way, the AutoZone text line, somebody complimented you. Cooper Rush, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Cowboys, even without Dak, beat the Vikings in a really good game last night. And then I'm going to give the star from Northwestern. He's been around the league for 6 years, hasn't played much, but how about Trevor Siemian? 159 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, no turnovers, and he beat the Bucs. He gets one of my 3 silvers, all the new quarterbacks, White, Rush, and Siemian, and then Kenny Walker gets my gold. To beat the rival Michigan, to have 197 yards and 5 touchdowns, throw in the fact he's from Arlington and nobody knew him 3 years ago. My goodness, I love Kenny Walker, and I'm gonna give him great consideration for a Heisman Trophy.
No, he's really good. He's one of the best running backs in the nation, no doubt. My bronze medal, last week, Dave, I Googled the word hurricanes, and storms came up. Well, this morning I Googled the word hurricanes, and the U came up, because Miami, the U is back. Tyler Van Dyke beat Pitt 38-34 on the road.
I was shocked.
426 yards. That guy's really good. 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Good player.
That was great. I may have to outlaw Miami. All told for you.
You wait till I get to the gold here.
Oh,
so
no.
the silver I also gave to Mike White. I'll say this. First 400-yard game for a Jets quarterback since Vinny Testaverde.
Oh, my goodness. Really?
In 2000 against the Ravens, one of the best defenses of all time, Ray Lewis, all those guys. So that's big day for Mike White. And then my gold goes to the Florida Panthers hockey team, not the Carolina Panthers. Florida Panthers.
Oh, my goodness. We're reaching.
8-0-1. They haven't lost a game yet. Unbelievable. Lost in a shootout against Boston. Tough, but they're playing really good hockey. I love the Florida Panthers.
I'm not giving them a rust, but I don't think my Blackhawks have won a game. They have a 1 overtime loss. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So they're 0-7-1 or
so
something like that?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Gosh, they're the opposite of the Panthers. That's amazing. I got 2 rusts. One goes to Tom Brady. 3 turnovers in that game. He killed the Bucs. 2 bad picks, and he dropped the football under a bit of pressure. Unbelievable. 3 TOs. That is amazing. He's human. And then my final rush, I got to give to Inglewood, California high school coach Milvon James. His team beat Morningside of Inglewood 106-0. They came to him early, I think in the second quarter, and asked if they could just go running clock. It was already like 59-0, and he refused to do that for a while. Finally, they just did it. When they were up 104-0, they went for 2 on the extra point. The quarterback, who's a commit to UCLA, his name is Justin Martin. Remember that name. He threw 13 touchdowns. To beat a team 106-0, to deny the first request of a running clock, to keep punishing them with your starters, not running the ball at all? Come on. What a jerk. He gets a rust.
Little look at me, Larry, for me. And my rust goes to the football gods from taking Derrick Henry away from us.
I like that. That's sad. That's 8 weeks that we won't see at least. And that is really a tough blow, obviously, for the Tennessee Titans. We're out of time. As always, a thanks to John Thompson for sure, and to Tim Doolin. We'll see you on Monday. Johnny Radio comes your way in just a minute.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about